Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Repco Home Finance Q1 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by Yes Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rajiv Mehta from Yes Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Aman. Welcome everyone. We thank the management of Repco Home Finance for giving us this opportunity to host their earnings call. We have with us Mr. Yashpal Gupta, MD and CEO, and other members of the top management team. Gupta sir, may I request you to start the call with your opening remarks on Repco's performance, post which we'll open the floor for questions. So over to you, sir.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone and a very warm welcome to this earnings call. As we all know, the quarter one was historic in many ways for all of us. We had a second wave of COVID-19, which was worse than the first wave. We also lost in our company a few employees and their relatives. As you know, collection was very poor in this, and also we could not do any new business. Last year, if you remember, we had done 75% of moratorium we had given. But this year, since RBI did not allow moratorium, we had to, despite the problems being faced by all of us, we had to go for collection, and which was very poor in April and May, but fortunately picked up in June. Still it got 90%. That is why you find the checking to be little high, but we are quite hopeful because last year also, as you saw, while Q1 and Q2, if you look at till February to May 1st and to August, the deferment or moratorium was about 75%. But by March end, we could bring down the NPA to under 4. So this year we have done the checking of some account, and we are quite hopeful of good recovery. Because Q1 of last year was also not good in terms of business, this year we recorded growth, but the growth is of no value because the prepayment continued to be high, and the book growth has actually been negative. But the important thing is, if you look at the P&L parameters, that is the NIM and the spread, they are better than last year. While profit is lower because of higher provisioning, but we have more provisioning upfront. So entire loss is booked upfront. Still we report a 32 crore profit. So going forward, if Code 3 does not come, which so far is not visible, then we should do well in the remaining months of the year. I need support of our employees and all of you investors also. Now, with this, I leave the floor. Although numbers are all shared with you, so I will not repeat the numbers. If you have anything, any question, I'll be happy to answer. I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. One who wishes to ask a question may please press star and 1. Our first question is from the line of Viraj Mehta from Equirus PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello sir. Sir, as far as the provisioning that you have done, are you saying that almost all the pain that you think can come, you have taken upfront, and there will be no more provisioning which will come, elevated provisioning that we are seeing that will come from Q2 onwards? And do we see what kind of recovery will you see from some of the write-offs that you have taken?
See, yeah, very good. There are two parts to your question. One is the provisioning in Q2, Q3, and Q4. Now there, of course, a lot is dependent on the code 3, how strong it is, when it will come, how long it will be there. But suppose the working parameters are as they are today, then yes, you are right, we don't see any additional provision, maybe 10-20 crores, not much, in the remaining period of the year. That is your first part. But again, if code 3 happens and lockdown happens, we do not know. Because most of our customers are not salary class, they are not very tech savvy, so collection becomes a problem. But we are hoping that with the vaccination, the code 3 will be controlled. Now, second, you asked about write-off. We have not, if you see, we have not done money write-off. But, so, and RBI has also now said you can only reverse the provisioning that you have done on the exchange after 50% of the loan is recovered. So, while the reversal of provisioning will take time, but write-off is not done anything in the under code.
Understand. And what were the bank transfers this quarter? And when do you see growth normalizing for you? Will it be this quarter, next quarter? If you can throw some light on that.
Sorry, can you repeat first part of the question?
What was the bank transfer this quarter?
Bank transfer.
Bank takeover.
Bank takeover, yes. See, it is very difficult for us to know that what is the takeover by banks and NBFCs because they are competing with each other. Sometimes the customers pay so much pocket and take. But I can tell you the takeover is about 90 crores per month. First quarter we saw about 250 crores takeover by all parties. I mean, it is difficult to tell how much was by bank, how much was by NBFC, etc. But total about 250 crores was transferred. And second part, growth, we have, because partial down still remains in many parts of the country. So Q2 probably will normalize and we are looking at growth from Q3 onwards.
So,
again, we say rather that code 3 does not come.
No, can you repeat that, sir? Last thing, what did you say?
I think code 3 impact is minimal.
Okay.
And
so, sir, we have been between this 11 and 12,000 crore book for almost a year and a half, 2 years, because we don't seem to grow. When do you think the environment will be prudent for us to again start growing? Because essentially we are losing market share not only to banks, but even to other housing finance companies who are growing at this point. What do you have to say about that?
There are two parts of that, what you asked. One is the growth in last 1.5 years has been muted, rather no felt. But that has coincided with COVID. And our base is quite high. If you look at other housing finance companies which are growing, their base is quite low. How they have reduced the spread or NIM. Unfortunately, because our style of segment is different, and for last 1.5 years, unfortunately external events have been affecting the economy and the demand for loan that we grant. So the growth is low. And what we have tried to do in this period is cover ourselves rather than grow at any speed. We want to take ourselves from the unexpected events. So we have increased the liquidity on balance sheet. We have about 400 crores of fixed deposits. On off balance sheet, 2,200 crores we unused the second NIM spread. So we are constantly, I would say, not making extra effort. I don't say we are not making effort, but not making extra effort to go over balance sheet in last couple of years. But since COVID looks to be behind us, we are now going to be aggressive from next quarter onwards.
Okay. And do you think that your interest cost has kind of bottomed out, and do you see any increase in your interest cost going forward?
See, I don't know what you mean by going forward, but RBI governor has indicated, or many experts have also indicated, that by February, till February, at least, repo rate will remain constant. We still have a lot of other scope, while substantial reduction is not possible, but like CPs can do for shorter period, or there are lenders who are willing to lend for a shorter period. So we can still, they are not bottom out, we can reduce by about 10-15 years, but I don't see it going up in near future.
Thank you. Mr. Mehta, would request you to join the queue for any follow-up. Thank you. Any participants who wish to ask a question may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Tibrewal from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my question. Hello, Gupta sir. Hope you are doing well.
Echo is there. The echo is coming.
Just 1 minute, sir. So is it better now?
Yeah, now better.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions here. First thing is, how should we read this increase in the GNPA that you have reported? Was it purely because of the COVID second wave, or is there also an element of this seasonal deterioration in asset quality that you report in Q1 of every financial year?
What is the second question? Is the only question?
How should we read this GNPA deterioration or asset quality deterioration that you have reported? So one element is the second COVID wave, and the other is that seasonal deterioration in asset quality that you report in Q1 of every financial year.
Yeah, but see, last year when we were hit by COVID-1, RBI, as you know, had given moratorium, and we had given to 75% of our customers. 75%. It was a temporary mismatch of cash flow from them, and they could not pay. We gave moratorium, sir. But by March, it was below 4. While I agree with seasonal deterioration, but this year, if COVID-2 had not happened, we were hoping for about 4% maximum by June. It is because of this, and no restricting at all. So it is entirely because of COVID, I would say. We could not move out. People, when they are going and meeting customers, they do wear masks. We even at one point of time thought of having a shield made for them so that they could go and meet the customer. It was entirely because of COVID. And customers say, I'll commit suicide. He will say, how do I pay? I have no income. Those salaried cars, fine. But non-salaried cars had a lot of problems. So I would say, I would put it 100% down to 99%. 100% COVID-2.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And the second question that I had is, sir, can you give some more color on your restructured book? Was it primarily from the self-employed customer segment, any geographical color, or if you can share, what proportion of this 610 crores that you restructured was in the 0 DPD bucket or say in stage 1 as on March 31st?
No, the 0 DPD and stage 1, that regard don't have now. But yes, as per RBI guidelines, they were all standard. And as far as the geography is concerned, most of them, in terms of the income profile, they were all non-salaried. There were some salaried also, but blue collar, not white collar. So most of them were non-salaried, and they are spread all across India. They are providing provision to our loan book.
Okay. And so lastly, on your employee expenses, I think if I remember correctly, you had shared that you had recently seen a wage revision. And despite that, and I think during the quarter, you saw a net addition of about 15 employees. And despite that, your employee expenses were down both QOQ and YOY. And so last question, if I might just squeeze in, can you share the aging of your stage 3 assets now? Because from what we understand, while you keep resolving some of your stage 3 and NPAs, the newer ones keep getting added. So it will be a good for us, rather helpful for us, if you can share some of the aging around your stage 3 assets.
Aging, probably, Bala, you have that data? I'll tell you. Bala will share. Right now, I don't have that.
Sure, sir. Sure. I'll take it from Bala.
Yeah. Coming employee expenses because of COVID, we actually deferred the revision. The actual revision has not happened. And as you know, housing finance sector, there's always a come in and go out of employees. The turnover rate is quite high. So overall, this might have come down because some high value employees or higher cost employees, they left and some low cost employees came. But it is almost that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That's all I had. Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Akhil Hazari from RoboCapital. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. I just want to know, is there any guidance for credit cost in FY22 and going forward? If you could just give us any number.
It is similar to what the first question I asked about provisioning. In the first quarter, we made about 78 crores provision. But we don't expect it to grow for the entire year beyond 100 unless COVID comes, as I told you. And we hit us hard. But otherwise, it will be 100 crore maximum on 27 crore book. So credit cost will be around 90 bps. First quarter has been high because of restructuring, but they are front loaded. So Q2, Q3, Q4, we don't expect much.
Oh, okay, fine. And are there any branch additions in FY22 and, going forward, will there be any branch addition?
Going forward, of course, there will be addition. But so far, in this year, because we have been trying to control our losses. Losses mean not losses on the P&L account, but loss of employees, the manpower, and their work hours. So this year, so far, we have not done any branch addition. There will be one or two additions. We have a concept of satellite center, SAT center. So maybe 2 or 3 will convert into branch, but no new center as of now. But yes, going forward, every year we have the idea of opening about 15 batches, which will retain going forward also.
Oh, okay, fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, if you wish to ask a question, please press star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Viraj Mehta from Equirus PMS. Please go ahead.
No, sir, my question has been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who wish to ask a question at this time, they may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Akash Jain from Moneycows. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sorry for the misunderstanding from my end. I just wanted to understand the provisioning we have made. Can you give us a bit of sense of how much of it is on account of GNPA or stage 1, stage 2, stage 3? How much is because of restructuring? Because my understanding is that you need to also create provisions for all restructuring that you need to do. Some part of the provisioning has to be done for restructured assets. And also give a number on write-offs that you have taken, if any. That is the first question. The second question is, again, on the growth side. So we have obviously been losing almost like 200-250 crores of BT out, balance transfer out to banks or NBFCs. But somehow, why are not we being so aggressive to also do balance transfer in from, for example, other affordable housing companies which are lending at 17-18%, where we are extremely competitive in terms of rate. So if we are losing our best customers to banks, why are we not being aggressively trying to also take customers from affordable housing companies which are lending at almost 3, 4, 5% higher than ours? Thank you so much.
Okay. So first of all, let me answer about write-offs. Write-offs in this quarter is 0 almost. Correct? There is no write-off. Second, out of provisioning, 10% of the restructured assets, that is about 61 crores, are because of restructuring. Balance is because of the stage 2, stage 3, about 70 crores. So totally 78. That is, have you understood? Have you understood?
Yes, I have understood. I just wanted this clarification. I have understood. Thank you so much.
Okay. Now, when we say about the Tikor Hum other NBFCs, if you remember, they were conquered in February. This was the precise point asked by one of your colleagues, the participants. And we said, yes, there is a good idea. Let us be also agreed in the two other NBFC loans, which are at 70-80%. And we are, of course, as you know, it requires another 2 months for putting in place a system as to what precaution you take and other things. So we are thinking we will start from them. In April we go very aggressive. From April we go very aggressive in Tikor. In fact, we launched some internal competitions also. Unfortunately, as we thought of that, the Code 3 affected us. And we are not able to do even normal business. Code 2, I mean. So the question taken from others probably was not a priority in our mind. But as we see things coming back to normal, probably we'll start again to take some other banks, other NBFCs, I mean.
Okay. Just one follow-up question on the restructured part of the book. Like you mentioned earlier, only small part of it is salaried. Can you also give us a sense of how much of it is from LAP and how much of it is from housing finance loans?
Just a minute. 1 minute.
Out of total restructured book, around 15% is pertaining to LAP book, remaining is the housing loan.
So basically, it's almost in the same proportion as our loan book, where almost 80-85% is housing.
Yeah.
Okay, and of both so LAP is largely salaried, non-salaried, and even on the salaried, even on the housing finance loans restructuring, you are saying majority of it is from unsalaried only.
Most of them. There will be some percent are salaried, but you have picked up salary not really. Just. But right now we don't have the teacher, Bala will provide, but most of it is non-salaried.
No problem. I just wanted qualitative understanding. Thank you so much, Gupta ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Amit Ganatra from HDFC Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, 2 questions from my end. So one is that you just mentioned that out of 78 crores of total provisions, almost 61 crores were towards restructured assets. Is this correct?
Yes, correct.
But sir, then your ECL provisions have also gone up by 44 odd crores, whereas the balance provision seems to be only 17 crores. So how does these numbers numbers are not telling, because your ECL provisions on stage 3 quarter on quarter seems to have gone up by 44 odd crores.
So there are some write back from stage 2 to stage 3. Sorry, write forward to stage 3 as well as some write backs. So net increase in stage 2 was 30 crores and increase in stage 3 was 50 crores.
You're saying some provisions were written back from stage 3, that's why.
Yeah, from stage 2 to stage 3. Some assets moved from stage 2 to stage 3. So we had to provide addition on that. So there's a net addition of 50 crores on stage 3 and net addition of 30 crores on stage 2.
But your PNL only 17 crores was provided. Is it correct? Through PNL?
No, 70 crores, 70. 69, 70. 78 crores, sorry. 78 crores. It's close to 80 crores. So,
but out of 78 crores, 61 crores is purely towards restructured assets, right? Isn't that a separate provision?
No. Sorry, let me repeat again. there are several ways of looking at it. In P&L account, we provided for 78 crores. Now, out of we done 610 crores of restructuring, so 10% of that is 61. But of course, you are right in asking question that 78 minus 61 is 17. So that should be there. But what happens is when we do this thing of 61 crores, 61 crore protein, some are written back also. Blood protein value, you have to figure? What's the figure? Yes, you will provide after in that case.
Okay.
What I mean to say is that for restricting we have made 61 crore provision, but entirely my account have gone to P&L account.
So is my understanding correct that 61 crore provision has not been made through P&L, I mean through provision number? It must have been directly been appropriated or something like that. Is the understanding correct?
No, he has been provided in P&L, but thing is that coming negative in P&L also. So net provision is 78 crores.
Okay.
Let me try to attempt. So we provided 63 crores for restructured accounts in stage 2, okay? But we had some movement from stage 2 accounts. So the provision reduced by 30 crores. So the net addition was 30 odd crores in the stage 2.
Okay.
And
okay. So, okay, understood. Okay. So total 50 crore provision is towards stage 3 and 30 crore is towards stage 2, but 30 crore also includes restructured assets, is what you are saying.
On a net basis, correct.
Correct. And that's why the provisions in that sense have been made towards various stages, and a large portion of restructured book is in stage 2.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Sir, have you also then provided the percentage of assets which are under stage 2 currently?
Yeah, we have provided.
What is that percentage?
Stage 1 is around 85%.
Stage 1 is 85. Okay, so the balance, and stage 3 anyways we know, so the balance is stage 2. And how much it would have gone up as compared to March, stage 2 assets?
Right now we don't have data in hand. Mr. Bala will share the data in offline.
And last question is on restructuring. Now, in the previous quarter, you had guided sort of 6% of the book could be restructured in all. Now, 5% seems to have already been done. So, should we assume that balance 1% may still be restructured, or, I mean, have you discussed anything on the pipeline for restructuring?
As of now, we are not planning to restructure anything more. We are finished at 1%. But as you know, code 3 we do not know. But in the human circumstances, 6% became 5.1.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Reminder to participants, if you wish to ask a question, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Bharat Kothari as an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. My question is, how do you see your loan book size in next 5 years? Let's say now is FY 22, in let's say FY 26 or 27. What is your you are expecting your loan book size, and what is your NIM guidance for the future?
See, as for the first, I'll let you look at NIM. We're looking at NIM at around 4.25 to 4.5% in 5 years' time. So it should be around 4.25, 4.5. We were expecting it in 5 years' time. Assuming that, again, such strategies do not come, like some swan event, we're looking to double our books. So I would say by 2026, we are looking at a book size of close to about 24,000 crores. But that is, assuming no black swan event like Kochu or Afghanistan or like that. So that is the guidance that we have. Internally also we are working on that. We are looking at around NIM of about 4.25 to 4.5, spread of 2.75 to 3, and book size of 24,000 crores.
So you meant 24,000 crore book size in 5 years?
Yeah, by 2026.
Okay.
By 2026.
Yeah. 26, you meant 24,000 crore loan book size.
Yes, correct.
And NIM, if I understood correctly, it is 4.2% plus minus 0.23%.
Yes, correct.
Thank you, sir. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saurabh Dole from Trivantage Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, good afternoon. I just have one question on your capital adequacy. So right now you are at a pretty high level of capital on the balance sheet. So what is the target here? Because if I look at the other HFCs, none of them are operating at such high levels of tier 1. So what kind of levels are you looking at? Because if I look at the last few quarters, it has consistently been going up.
Yeah, because we don't have target in mind. As you know, as per RBI guidelines, they should, before the RBI become regulator, that 15% is required. So we feel that the calculation for CRAR for HFC is quite liberal. That might be changing going forward. But important thing is that in last many years, 4 or 5 years, we have not raised any capital. What happened is because of recourse and through growth, the asset growth percentage is lower than capital growth. That is why capitalization is going up. And our cases is quite low. So we are not going to raise any capital in the near future. We are going to buy back any shares also, except dividend. Then whatever happens is okay with us.
Okay. So did you say that you will not be buying back anything or?
Yeah, we will not be buying back anything. Yes.
Okay. And sir, one more question is on the credit cost. I don't know if I heard you correctly, but did you say that the full year credit cost will not exceed 100 crores if there is no third wave?
Correct. Provided, as I told you, there is no third wave. Yes.
Okay.
100 maybe. Sorry, modify that statement. It could be about 100. It will be 100 to 180 like that.
No. I just want a very rough range. I don't want exact numbers, but I'm just trying to understand what scale you're talking about.
Correct. Yes, you are right.
Okay, sir. Yeah, got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Abhijit Tibrewal from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, thank you for allowing me a follow-up question. And sir, if we heard you right, you said that we have restructured about 610 crores under RBI OTR 2.0 until June, and we have not restructured anything in the last 45 days of Q2, and you don't see any significant pipeline for restructuring as of now.
Yes, you are right. You are correct.
Okay. And sir, thank you for that. And sir, the second question I have is, while we understand, things are difficult right now given the environment, just wanted to understand what are the steps that we are taking to drive resolutions in some of your stage 3 assets, which may be legacy assets or which have stuck around for quite some time. Anything that you are doing there? And sir, the other question that I had was, if there's anything that you are doing on the digital side, which will help you in better sourcing and underwriting and help you reach that aspired target of 24,000 crores by FY26 that you just articulated.
Okay. So one is on the NPA side, we are consciously not selling the NPA to AFCs, which many housing finance companies do to reduce their NPA. Because the fees they are all covered by SS and they will take time to recover, but they will give us good value. for their information in the past, also I said many times that if we see in last 20 years, we have written off only 10-20 crores of principal amount. So we recover principal plus interest. What we do over a period of time for resolution is number of ways. Like we do one time settlement, we go to court, we do excess sale under sufficiency, we negotiate with the customer, restructure the accounts and pay over a period of time. Less than it will be some case to case. But so far, what is happening is, like one of your predecessors asked a question, that a new wave is coming. So the accounts which are phase 2, they become phase 3. And we are trying to control that. Now on the digital side, what we have doing is, we have appointed KPMG as our technology consultant. We have identified certain developers, and by March end, we expect by the new system to be in place, whereby entire system will be new, our entire computer system will be new, at branches, at regional offices, at head office, all places, and then probably we can go for digital. Today the problem is unless we revamp our software system, we cannot have any effective digital initiatives. So we are not doing now. After March, when they are upgraded, then we go for some digital initiatives.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. That's all I had.
Thank you. A reminder to participants, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Saurabh Dole from Trivantage Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I just have one follow-up. I know that you've provided about 10% on the restructured book. But can we expect that as the quarters go by, you would want to increase the coverage on this part of the book?
See, of course, we all see in terms of how they perform. And as I told you that last year we have seen that all the moratorium accounts, 75% of them, till March, most of them were regular. So we expect that this problem will go away. There is a short-term problem. But yes, all provision will depend on how they perform. But we expect them to perform well. So we will not be required to increase the provision at all.
Okay. And sir, till the time these loans actually go off your books, till then you'll have to maintain them on the stage 2 book, or you can upgrade it to stage 1 too?
No, for that, what will happen is, after the regular provision for 1 year, then they will become stage 1, but provision will not be returned back. They will return back only after 50% of payment has been made. So they will follow the regulatory guidelines. There is a change in that, we'll go by that.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for that clarification.
Thank you. Our next question from the line of Rajiv Mehta. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. 2 questions from my side. Sir, firstly, on collection efficiency, you said a number of 90%. So this 90% number is for, that's June number?
Yes, June number.
What was it in July, sir?
It was better, but exact number I cannot share now, but it was better and others is even better.
Okay. And this 90% collection efficiency would have in the denominator NPL and restructured assets as well? I mean, because you would have offered a moratorium to restructured assets?
See, moratorium we offered restructured assets only from July.
From July, right. Yeah.
Yeah, in June they were not there. But NPA was there, yes.
Okay. And would it also include any arrear collection in the numerator?
Yeah, it will include arrear collection also in the numerator. What I mean is, suppose if I have to collect 100 rupees, not arrear collection, current month dues only, then I could collect 90% in June. Not arrear, sorry, not arrear. It is current month only.
Okay, okay. And this restructuring, restructuring is what would it be largely a moratorium of say a year or so? What is the form of restructuring, sir?
See, generally, most of them are following a standard approach whereby the interest is funded for a certain period. And moratorium is due for that period, with no penalty.
Okay. And
as you know, RBI has put a restriction that 24 months spectrum can be increased. So, unless whatever like that way, that increase will be only 24 months.
Right. And just two clarifications, all restructured assets are in stage 2?
Yes, right. Auditors, we have put them in stage 2. Yes.
Okay. And this restructured assets, customers' DPD status as of March, any clarity? I mean, you said standard, but would they be largely in stage 1?
Largely in stage 1, but that breakup we don't have, and right now I don't have, but yes, largely in stage 1.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. That's it from my side.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, if you wish to ask a question, please press star and 1. Next question is a follow-up question from the line of Abhijit Tibrewal from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for allowing me a follow-up question again. So just one last question here. I think last quarter, Q4 FY21, I think it was a very good quarter, especially on the asset quality side, where we saw about a 60 basis points kind of a decline in your gross NPA. And like we know, I mean, you are not really someone who takes a lot of write-offs in the principal amount, and assuming that this was organically driven by collections or one-time settlements or resolutions in your stage 3. So internally, what are you working with now, at least in terms of your GNPA profile? Because, sir, I mean, until Q4 FY21, for a very long time, I think for the last about 8 quarters, our NPA was sticky at around those 4.2, 4.3% levels, and then it suddenly declined to 3.7% in the last quarter. Internally, what are you working with? I mean, anytime in the next 12, 18 months, you think we can look at a time where, let's say, NPAs can come down to about 3% kind of levels?
See, actually, what you said is absolutely right, that it was the organic growth. And if COVID had not come, then probably by June we will be around 6.5. And September we will be around 3. But unfortunately, because of COVID were named, that hit us, all of us, the NPAs have gone up and the restructures have come. And in fact, we see we remain on the ground for 6 to 9 months. So if everything remains same, September will be tough, but we are working on that. December should be better, and by March we should be again 2 to 4. If you look at it, 1 year 3%, the target earlier was March 22, now we have to extend by 1 year to March 23. So if everything was okay, by March 23, we should be below 3 in NPA.
Okay, and so by March 22, are you targeting 3.5 now? Or?
March 23. March 22, 3.5, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that would be our last question for today. I now hand the conference over to the management for the closing comments. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you for participating in our con call and asking some really probing questions which help us also. We only hope that COVID impact, our COVID impact is not going to come. Probably wash it behind us. And if that happens, you will see good results from us going forward. We only hope that, because in COVID we lost some relatives, some friends, all of us, and some colleagues, which is very tough for us to believe in. But on the work front, despite the COVID problem, we are first trying to safeguard ourselves, and second, then go. And if Q2 is behind us, then by March, you will look at much better results in the GNP, as I told you, 3.5 below, and go ahead with this year is maybe we will be happy with low teens, say around, we'll be happy with around 78% growth, around 1,800 or 900 crores, but next year onwards you will see good growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Yes Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.